Gregg Williams, former Browns defensive coordinator, talked about the drop passes and the penalties by the Browns this season. This is from the Come Get Some podcast with Gregg and Blake Williams.
And as you know, with me, every coach, every player, every equipment manager, every trainer, the two words you got to own to be a part of this team that I'm involved with is accountability and availability. You're not going to be available when you're not accountable. And we do that in the meetings, how you sit in a chair. We do that in the locker rooms on how you take care of your locker. We do every single thing from a structured discipline accountability part of it. And right now is they do what they want to do. And I don't care, especially at the receiver position, not only from the accountability part of it, but drop passes, okay? You're not in professional football to drop passes. I don't care how hard the catch is, okay? You must catch the ball. But the thing on the penalty thing right now is just driving me bananas.
As always, it's kind of interesting, Tim, to hear Gregg Williams, very old school, and I can't argue with some of what he's saying.
Yeah, I think you obviously see that old school mentality. Obviously, talking about structure and discipline, and in some ways, you still kind of need that in the NFL. And you really can't succeed without that kind of accountability. Again, we don't know. We only see what we're basically told from Kevin Stefanski and the coaches and the players. There's always certainly things behind the scenes that we'll never see or whatever. But I think with the drop passes and the penalties, it comes down to a focus thing, attention to detail. And as much as, we talk about Deshaun Watson struggling, it's as much as, he's deserves some blame. I think so does everything else around him. The line continues to struggle. I mean, you talk about that sequence. I think it was in, the last two games they get down deep in opponent's territory, and because of penalties and drop passes, essentially, they're forced to back up, and then they can't even go for touchdowns anymore. They have to settle for field goals in those situations. So there are situations where, as much as the quarterback is really not getting it done, the pieces around him are also not really helping. And I think if you're a receiver, as much as anything, you see your quarterback struggling, you also need to do your part, step up and help them out. If the ball is anywhere near you, you got to be able to reel it in. That's just how it is. And there's been drops certainly that have been issues in the receiving room, and especially with Amari Cooper gone, now you have to find those guys who are going to step up in his absence. So it's just tough for everybody to deal with, but you got to find a way to lock in.